Today we're going to talk about word problems related to absolute value inequalities. And so at the top, in general, the word problems we're going to look at today, most likely, I would say 99.9% of the time, we are looking at something where we have a goal of a length, or you're going to see in manufacturing sometimes it's the amount of something that is in a bag. And then there's an acceptable error, and we would want to stay within that error. And so what we need to realize is the reason why we write it as an absolute value is because we could go above plus the error or below minus the error. So we're going to begin by writing them in this way. So let's take a look at example 2. We'll do a couple of these. A company makes golf balls. The company that makes golf balls needs to ship bags that contain 690 golf balls, plus or minus 6. So what's the goal for the number of golf balls that they want to have in that bag? That would be 690. So when I'm writing my absolute value inequality, I write the absolute value of x minus 690. That's what would go in the absolute value. The error means how much can we be off by, is 6. So I'm right, that has to be less than or equal to 6. Alright, so I'm going to explain why this works in a second, but really if you follow this this formula, x minus the goal is less than or equal to the error, that is going to work for all of these examples right here. Alright, so the reason why this works is because x represents how many golf balls are actually in the bag. So for instance, it could be 685. If I had 685 minus 690, I would get a negative 5. But is that still plus or minus 6 golf balls? It is. And so that's why this formula works. The x minus the goal is less than or equal to the error. Now let's solve this. This is a less than, so this is going to be an and. So we rewrite this as an and. Negative 6 less than or equal to x minus 690 less than or equal to 6. Then I would add 690 to all of the parts of the inequality. So then we're looking at 684 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 696. So we are now going to find or label this to be acceptable for this company. Each golf bag or each bag should have between 684 and 696 golf balls. That would put them within the plus or minus 6 error. Okay, let's take a look at number 3. Once again, let's say this is a manufacturer who is producing a box. They want the box to be 5 feet. But what we're saying is it can be within 1 or 0.1 inch. So one thing that I'm noticing is that these are different units. So since inches is smaller than feet, the first thing I'm going to do is take 5 feet, and how many inches are in a foot? 12, and convert it to inches. And that is my goal, for the box to be 60 inches. So when I'm writing my inequality, I am going to write the absolute value of x minus 60 And our error, what is the acceptable error here? The acceptable error is 0.1 inch, within 0.1 inch. So I'm going to write is less than or equal to 0.1. Once again, this is an and. It's a less than, it is an and. Less than is an and. So I write this as negative 0.1 is less than or equal to x is less than, that should be x minus 60, is less than or equal to 0.1. What am I going to do to solve this? I am going to add 60 onto each part of my inequality. That leaves me with 60 minus 0.1 is 59.9. I'm going to label it inches. Is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 60.1 inches. Okay, let's do one more example, and we can just look at example 4, the next one on the page. At the Brooks Graphic Company, the average starting salary for a new graphic designer is $37,600. But the actual salary could differ from the average by as much as $2,590 or $2,590. Write an absolute value inequality to describe this situation. So once again from above, which one of these things that I underline is the goal? Which is the goal starting salary? Well, the goal would be $37,600. So I'm going to write the absolute value of x minus 37,600. The error is how much it could vary by. So it could vary or have an error of less than or equal to 2,590. Once again, you're going to notice all three of these examples, and if I were to do numbers 1 and 5, they all look like this. Okay. Let's solve. This is an and because of the less than or equal to next to the absolute value. It's less than or equal to 2,590 and greater than or equal to negative 2,590. Okay, so now let's add 37,600 to all of the values, all of the parts of the compound inequality. And once we're done, we're going to make sure we include labels in our answer. And the labels would be in dollars. 37,600 minus 2,590 is $35,010 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to, put it down here since I can't fit it, $40,190. So 3 word problems having to do with goal and error. And so this should be enough for you to begin your homework assignment on page 20.